Have you ever been surrounded by people, yet felt completely alone? It's a feeling that, surprisingly, many adults share. We live in a world that's supposedly more connected than ever before, with social media, messaging apps, and endless ways to communicate. And yet, when it comes down to it, so many people still feel misunderstood and isolated. Personally, I know that feeling all too well. You'd think that finding common ground with people or choosing the right words would naturally lead to genuine bonds. But it's not that simple. True connection goes much deeper than that. Real connection is about letting someone see who you really are, beyond what you present on the surface. But letting someone in like that can be scary, especially when society constantly tells us to fit in and conform. Think about it. From the time you're young, you're taught that fitting in means showing only certain parts of yourself. You pick up on cues about what's acceptable and what isn't. You learn to share only the pieces of yourself that feel safe, that make you likable or easy to understand. Over time, you might even start to lose touch with some of the parts of yourself you don't share with others. And if you're only showing a piece of who you are, how can you expect others to fully understand you? This pressure to fit a mold leaves you feeling disconnected from your true self, and that lack of self-connection makes it even harder to build meaningful relationships with others. The truth is, this isn't just about social expectations, it goes much deeper than that. Part of the struggle to connect comes down to the fact that each of us experiences and makes sense of the world in our own unique way. Imagine it this way, each of us carries our own filter through which we see and interpret reality. It's shaped by our experiences, memories, and beliefs. This filter is what makes each of us unique, but it also means that no matter how close we get to someone, they're never going to see things exactly the way we do. And even if someone is listening and trying to understand, they're still interpreting our words through their own lens, which can lead to misunderstandings. Take a moment to think about all the times you felt misunderstood, like no one was quite getting what you were trying to say. The frustration that comes with that feeling is real, and guess what? The people around you probably feel the same way sometimes. They're facing the same challenge you are, trying to bridge the gap between their own experience and yours. A big part of what makes connection so challenging is that no one can fully know what's inside someone else's mind. Even if you're the best communicator in the world, there are aspects of your inner life that no one else can truly grasp. And honestly, most of us wouldn't want to reveal every single part of ourselves anyway. There are things we hold back, either because they're too personal, too complicated, or maybe just too hard to put into words. Think of connection like a bridge. You build it from your side, and the other person builds it from theirs. But the distance between those two bridges will always exist to some extent, simply because you're each approaching it from a different reality. There will always be a point at which the other person can't follow, where they can't truly understand, because they haven't lived through what you've lived through. And that's okay. It's part of what makes each of us unique. Understanding this can be powerful. Realizing that everyone else is going through the same struggle, feeling isolated, misunderstood, or unheard, makes it easier to have empathy for others and for yourself. It's not just about whether someone listens or tries hard enough, it's about accepting that each of us brings our own perspective that no one else can fully see. So when you find yourself feeling alone, remember that it's not just you. The people around you are likely grappling with the same things. So what's the takeaway? If feeling isolated is so common, and if no one can truly understand each other completely, then where does that leave us? It leaves us with a choice. We can let those walls stay up, assuming that no one will ever really get us, or we can make the effort to connect, despite the barriers. Building genuine connections requires a level of openness and vulnerability that can feel uncomfortable, but it's also the only way to create relationships that matter. Instead of waiting for someone else to bridge the gap or get you, maybe it's about being the one who takes the first step. Share a little more of yourself, even the parts that feel risky. Be the one who listens without trying to analyze or fix, who just lets someone else be seen as they are. In the end, the strongest connections come from a place of empathy and understanding, where you accept that some things will remain unknown, but choose to connect anyway. At the end of the day, it's up to each of us to push through those walls and make the connections we really want. No one else can do it for you. The responsibility for building meaningful relationships, despite the fact that no one will ever fully understand you, rests with you. It's not easy and it requires courage, but it's also one of the most rewarding things you can do. So, yes, feeling isolated is a shared human experience, but the choice to connect is ultimately in your hands. After all, you have more power than you think in breaking down the walls between you and others. And while no one will ever see the world exactly as you do, it's those differences that can make your relationships that much richer and more meaningful. Have you experienced this loneliness despite being surrounded by others? Let's talk about it. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more discussions on connection and understanding. Together, we can create a space where everyone feels heard and valued.